It's Gronnemark, the throwing coach. For those of you who don't know me, then I'm a professional throwing coach. I've been a part of 14 titles in international football. In this very first live throwing analysis, I'm going to talk about the match Manchester United against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. What's really important to say is this is a live analysis, so it means that I've been seeing the game live, so I've only seen each situation one time. What's also important to say is that when you have a throw-in in television, sometimes you can be unlucky that the camera is not in the situation. In this game I think quite lucky. I think I saw the most of it here. But again, it's a live throw-in analysis, and normally when I do throw-in analysis for clubs, it takes me per game 3 to 4 hours. I can see the same situation many times if I want. I also often have a tactical view either of the whole pitch or a big part of the pitch, and like when you see live television, it's often censored in one part of the pitch unless you're really lucky. But again, this is the live throwing analysis of the game Manchester United and Bayern Munich in the Champions League. I will try to be as objective as possible, but I'm also subjective because I'm using my 20 years of knowledge as a throwing coach. I have not been putting this game into some kind of database and say X passes or X seconds. No, I'm looking at are the teams playing out of the situation, out of the pressure? Are they creating good situations? So that's how I look at, for example, possessions or other things. So what I'm going to tell you here is the possession of each team, the throw-in possession here at throw-ins under pressure. So I don't count no pressure throw-ins where the opponents are far away. Throw-ins are really important. You have 40 to 60 throw-ins in a match normally, so it means a lot for the outfall of the games. But first of all, just to say my general view of this game, I think the throw-in quality were really low. Often you see two world-class teams, this time Manchester United and Bayern Munich, play, how can you say, a great game, and then the throw-ins can be terrible, or at least they could be much better, let me say that instead. And it could be any teams in the world, but I see that really often that the quality of the throw-ins are not the best. And again, I'll say, like you probably know out there, that throw-ins, also football in general, it's often combined with some duels, with some things where you can be lucky or unlucky, because it's again a low scoring sport, but we also have a lot of duels. It's not so easy to play with your feet as it is with your hands, for example in basketball. But again, on with this throw-in analysis. So let's start with Manchester United. I had them to a possession on throw-ins under pressure on 54.5%. And you can say that's actually acceptable. It's not good. It's maybe acceptable. Of course, you want to be better than 54%. That of course you want that. But in some situation, Manchester United had some secure possessions. But I'll say that I'll have two takeaways from Man United that I think they could have done much better in this game. And first of all, they had several throw-ins at the opponent's penalty area. And what happened several times was that these throw-ins, they ended up by the central defenders further back on the pitch. And yes, that can happen for all teams, of course, but you want, when you're close to the opponent's goal, try to utilize space in the opponent's penalty area. I know that some teams are doing the long throw-ins. I'm not after that here. I'm talking about space creation there, because you can do that in many ways. And I don't think that United tried to take advantage of that. Yes, they had the possession in the end, but again, in my world, possession it's not everything, because sometimes we can take a little risk or even a big risk if it's close to the opponent's goal, because it means that if the opponents get the ball, they have like 100 meter to your team's goal. So I think United could have done that much better. And then I also think that United, they put themselves in a lot of situations where they came too close to the thrower, but they also came in quite many situations where they threw the ball into small boxes. And that's a big challenge, because if you get the ball in a small box with small distance between the defenders, then there's a big risk of losing the ball. And even though it can happen for all teams, you want to avoid that. And so big potential of improvement by United for sure, at least in this game. And it's really important for me to say that I'm only talking about this game. What United did in the last game, what they're doing in the next game, I'm not talking about this, but in this video for sure. But here, big potential of improvement by United. Then we're coming to Bayern Munich, and in my possession statistic, they had a possession on 41.7%, and for me that's really bad. And I'll say I've been coaching many of the great teams around the world, and if I ever came under 50, I was really disappointed. For sure, most of my teams would have like 60 to 80%, if it was a team who focused a lot on what I call the fast and clever throw-in. So 41.7% isn't that good, especially not for a world-class team with world-class players like Bayern Munich. But here are my takeaways around Bayern Munich. So first of all, they had a real tendency to play on a small pitch. What do I mean with that? I mean that when a big part of your players are coming close, not only one player, but a portion of players, it could be players surrounding the thrower, or in certain players coming close in a certain angle to the thrower. For example, down the line, they're coming close towards the thrower there. Then you are making a small pitch for yourself. And like you probably know, if you're playing a 4 against 2, in a training situation, in a small pitch, it can be quite hard to keep the ball. But if you play it on a 20 times 20 meter square, it's so easy to keep the ball. It's impossible for the two defending players to take it. So that's the, how can you say that, the theory between small and big pitches. You can actually create those yourself in a match by moving right. So Bayern Munich created small pitches for themselves really often. And yeah, it meant that they lost a lot of balls on that. Then the second thing was that I saw that, yes, I'll also say that Bayern had a couple of pretty okay throw-ins in between, but it looked like for most of their throw-ins that they weren't making team space creation. What is team space creation? Team space creation is where 2, 3, 4 players in a certain area of the pitch are helping each other to create space, because then you have a higher quality of space. And it happened again a couple of times that I think they did quite well, but for me, with a world-class team like Bayern, a couple of times is not that good. So they were doing a lot of what I call individual space creation. So it means that one player is running to create space for himself, or sometimes it can also be that one player is running to create space for another player, but the other player is not aware of it's happening. So that team space creation is really important, and I don't really think that Bayern did that so well here in this match. And then I'll say the third thing around Bayern, I don't know if you'll call it a highlight or the opposite, but in the 77th minute they had like 3 throw-ins in a row that was bad. And again, of course, maybe no one noticed that because they were I can't even remember if they 1-0 ahead at that time, but for sure they were in a good position. You can say that. They shouldn't score any goals, but no matter what, to do 3 bad throw-ins in 3 different ways, that's not the best thing here. So, but again, I think there's gigantic potential in Bayern Munich and their throw-ins, and for sure it will lift their game if they improve their throw-ins. So maybe they can find a throw-in coach somewhere who has some knowledge around throw-ins, how to improve them. I don't know, but for sure that will lift their game. But this was the very first live throw-in analysis here from the Manchester United Bayern Munich game from the Champions League. If you have a team you think I should analyze, or if you have a match in the future you think I should analyze, please make a comment around that. You can also pick out classical matches, maybe previous Champions League finals, or a classical game, or a World Cup match, things like that. I'm open to do that. But again, this was the very first live throw-in analysis from me. Again, I'm sitting at a hotel room with questionable lighting here, not home at my own office. So again, I hope you understand that this was the first one. I try to improve the quality of the settings, and so on my way improve the quality of the concept. So, but again, thanks a lot. If you're still looking now, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.